Hello and welcome to the New York part of the day. Right, it's a little quick update. We're already within New York at this point in time, so Euro JPY heavily bearish. Right, we're not looking for anything at this point because clearly this bigger range is still within play. Right, we sweep the internal high and then we push right back into here for a break inside here. Chalk, a very convincing chalk, so it would be okay to suspect maybe the market might come back in here and then just continue lower, right? Plus we are within a range, so selling from what you would deem as the extreme of the ranges is pretty reasonable at this point in time. And that's pretty much it for Euro JPY. And then we have Euro USD, which has basically been stuck in this miniature range right here at the bottom. No moves from here as well, so we are pretty much still sitting on our hands. Did have an eyeballs down this morning, 3 a.m. 2 a.m. but for me to do anything at this point, because this 15-minute swing is bullish, I would have to wait for this internal high to go and then I'd follow the bullish place. Right, for now there's nothing high probability within here that I can say is or justify a good sell trade within here or buy trade anyway, because price is bouncing between basically these 2 points up here and down here. And moving on to GU, better moves. Last week we've come into this 4-hour POI, great reaction. From there we had a little bit of a range, we break out and it's very bullish, right? Could be a little bit riskier, right? Not the highest of probabilities, but following this very close price action, maybe looking for a 1:2, you know. Nothing crazy within here. Just saying this POI here will, you could even go for a 3, the normal 3.3, right? Because of how far you can still target before the swing high, right? Coming to the swing low has held. Then looking for pro internal trades, pro swing trades here is very high probability, and it's one of those where you can pretty much just take the risk entry on this, not even having to wait for the confirmation on the lower time frames. Confirmation would be great, but it's one of those I'd be willing to risk a little bit more with the entry on the POI side, not having to worry about a confirmation because of how bullish it already is. There's no point in looking for confirmation in market structure that looks like this. It's very bullish. USD CAD, a little bit disappointing because we did take a loss in here. It's pretty valid if I can explain the entire idea. Right, we had a break of structure and 15-minute break of structure. I remember speaking about this one where it's a tiny break. It's obvious that it comes back in a little bit quicker than a more sustained break, right? Cool. Now, but we still have this bearish structure still holding firm. We've come in to sweep this 1-hour zone. We are deep within here. There's probably a 4-hour POI within here as well. There it is right there. There's a 4-hour. You could use this. You could just use the refined internal bar right there, inside bar. You have the 4-hour there, right? You come in, you touch the 4-hour, and then the internal is still bullish at this point, right? But looking at the overall swing structure, right, and this internal starting to show signs of pulling back, right? Pulling back probably will switch bearish as well to facilitate the continuation of this bearish structure, right? So the idea was we are following this internal structure over here, right? Where we had it tap into the 4-hour, it comes down, it comes in here, mitigates this, right? Mitigates this, and then we have a sustained break right here. It's not a sweep, right? So once I see the sustained break right there, I am happy to look for sells on the best internal. Okay, there's something in here. Okay, a little bit something iffy in here that I'll have to double check, right? Something I'm noticing. I'll look at it on the recap. But anyway, this POI over here, this is my strong POI. This is where I would like to see the continuation, right? We don't come into here, instead we sweep these equal highs over here. We sweep the equal highs, right, and then immediately we get a huge sell-off, which pretty much is what happened there. So it is unfortunate that you don't get the move that you would like to get, which is in here, and then the trade goes on. But the idea is still solid because it did what I was expecting it to do, which is to continue selling, right? So the idea was good. It's just execution may not have been as good as I would have liked it to be, but it's okay. I think it's still a decent setup, right? Maybe medium probability instead of high, but it's good nonetheless. So we'll check in at the end of the day and see if there was something within this New York session to continue the day with, right? And yeah, peace. It's EOD time. Yeah, I'll start with this. This is gonna be a quick rapid fire one. Euro JPY break of structure down here. We expect a pullback and then a continuation. Simple as that. Right, nothing in here. Also, we could just be coming down to sweep these lows here. These lows here, right? Could be coming in to sweep these lows and then continue higher, but then we'll monitor that. The Euro JPY price action will monitor, but for now, following the M15, we do have a break of structure, right? After a break of structure, we expect a pullback, so we'll be monitoring a pullback. Currently, buys would be counter swing, counter internal, so for this month, we are definitely not taking those, right? Trying to exclude those and see if the baseline changes somehow, right? And then we've got USD. Finally been waiting for this. Alright, I've been waiting for this internal high to go, and then finally the internal high goes, and tomorrow London session we'll just look to follow this, right? Had a sweep with that, pull back. So probably zones like these will be primed to go tomorrow. And that's Euro USD. GBP USD, we did have the internal break of structure, right? Spoke about that in the New York update, I believe. I hope I should have. Obviously I should have. And then I was looking for the M15, right, to continue on this small pause of price right here, considering how bullish it was, right? Because when it is like super bullish like this, you generally don't get like a deep pullback. And fortunately for me, there were equal lows here, and then as I spot these equal lows as liquidity, once it gets swept, I'm waiting for NM5 confirmation entry. We did not get that, and then price pretty much sweeps this POI, and then we are not involved in anything there, right? So at this point in time, if we do see a move up, let's say it crosses this, comes down, then we'll look to continue lower, right? Which is also low probability. Actually, I wouldn't play the sells here. It's too low probability because the internal is bullish, the swing is bullish, so this is highly unlikely. What you could see though is something where if we do get a break up here, and then we just look to follow within here and follow that, as simple as that. Or in another scenario where it comes into here, right, without sweeping this, comes into here, comes down, then we would still be patient, maybe look for continuation within one of these POIs over here, where maybe we come into there and then we get something like that. But our main focus is to look for the buys. I think the buys are the highest probability. Buys are the highest probability. So that's what we would be looking for. Okay, let's get into USD CAD. USD CAD, we had a loss, right? Had a loss earlier in the day. I'll just explain the idea behind the trade. I think I did explain it, but did I? I'm not sure. Whatever. Just explain it again. So the idea is that we are bearish, right, on the M15. We are bearish on the M15, but the internal is bullish, right? So we have the internal moving like this, right? Internal is bullish, but remember, the internal has to be bullish to facilitate the M15 minute pullback before we get the next swing run, right? So with that in mind, with London, we do come into this 4-hour POI right here. We come into the 4-hour POI during before London open, during Asia, right? We come into this POI and then we come down like this. But then look at this internal structure, right? The internal structure of this internal starts to form a bearish trend. So it would not be a in my thinking, it would not be a terrible idea to look for to continue this internal structure with the expectations of something like this, right? This zone holding and then a further push down. And that was basically the idea behind the trade, right? That was basically the idea behind the trade. And unfortunately, the market did come up, sweep these equals, and then do exactly what I was expecting it to do, right? Which is to basically just sell off. And yeah, nothing much we can do about that, really. Nothing much you can do about that. Sometimes you do get trades like this where it just sweeps you out and then it continues in the direction that you had expected it to go, which is okay. End of the day, right? We can't win them all. And then coming into New York, I did have expectations of this zone, which was a reaction zone from here, which means it's the flip for it to at least come into here, and then we continue lower. But unfortunately we did not do that. It just kept on pretty much selling. This tiny zone in here, not really something I'd look for, because yes, it's a sort of reaction, and you can justify it by saying GU had similar price action where it's very bearish, right? And it's probably good to get involved in like the nearest zone you can find. It is probably good to get involved. So maybe you could have entered in there, but I don't want to lie to myself and act as if I would have taken a trade in there anyway, right? I don't think I would have, because I was waiting for this, as I did have an alert set on here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'd say decent price action really, but maybe not enough opportunity, or the clearest of opportunities. This was clear but didn't work out. It's okay. This very iffy. That takes a lot of discretion to say, yeah, I would take that or not take that. It's not the clearest to me, so I don't want to act as if I would have taken this trade. So yeah, that I just wouldn't count that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's we go back again tomorrow, like every other day, and keep fighting. And yeah, have a good one.